and the visionary, the leader, the ambassador, the man behind all these change that's happening right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The only Ambassador Rivers right here with us. We are going to be interviewing today a very special guest in our midst, Alpha Kabine Baro from Guinea, the presidential candidate for 2020. We want to have a chat with him to understand what's going on in his country and what his mission and his purpose is for changing the nation of Guinea. And Ambassador Clyde Rivers is going to introduce our guest who is with us as a host to interview this great man.
We're honored to be here today, and we're going to talk about real issues. I have Dr. Eric Curtis with us, one of the most dear men I know that knows God. He worked with Ed Lewis Cole, a great man of God for years. And Dr. Eric, we're honored to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. And we're going to change the world today.
Mr. Presidential Candidate, tell me about the new Africa. This world views Africa through a certain grid. And I want to understand what is taking place in the new Africa.
First of all, I'm really honored and pleased to be here. It's a pleasure. And the first thing that I can say, thank God for bringing all of us together for the greater cause of humanity, and for the determination and the conviction that everyone in this room have to change in the world. And then I'd like to personally thank Dr. Rivers. He's a genius architect that's recognizing ordinary people doing the extraordinary things, and then bringing the good conscientious people together behind one ideal in order to apply the concept of do to others how, treat others how you like to be treated, and then the golden rules, which I'm proud of being part of this group. And the vision is clear. And going back to the question, that what we're looking at as far as a new Africa, as we all know, Africa is a continent that had lived through a lot of things such as slavery, and such as also a bad governance, and such as corruptions, such as coup d'etats, and a lot of things, and civil wars in different areas of Africa. However, the new conscientious youth of Africa determined to put end of that and to begin a new era. But how do we do that? We need to be engaged in the political system in our respective countries for the youth, and then we need to make sure that ethics applies. And we must end a corruption. That's the new Africa we're looking at. The new Africa we're looking at is actually, it's going to be, we're not going to say that, but we hope that we end corruption completely. But if not, at least we'll do 99%. So that's our goal as far as the corruption. And then we also like to revise the legal system, because first thing, everything begins by that, because a nation must be built, must be governed by the Constitution and the text of the Constitution. And that's the first thing we must look at, and that Constitution must be respected. And then who's a guarantor of respecting that Constitution is the head of the states. And we also understand, because in order to make change, we must tell the truth, we must acknowledge what's wrong in order to come up with the solution to fix the problems. And we all know, obviously, that there's a lot of corruptions. The funds that's going towards Africa are not being used to what they needs to be used for, to benefit the people or to benefit the nation. But we're not here to point fingers or to blame anybody. What we're here is to propose ideas that will change Africa forever, to bring a prosperous Africa. And for that, and then all the youth that's involved in politics, and I do encourage all the African youth to be in politics, but not in the dispersed ranks. because we see like 100, 200 political parties in one country. Unity is the key to make it, and also it's not everybody that's born to become a president. And then we notice that in many countries in Africa that everybody want to be a president, so there is a problem with leadership. And also another one that's a major problem, democracy is not interpreted well in our different communities, because in African community, the definition of democracy is vote for your own ethnicity. That's not democracy. That's not democracy at all. That is called discrimination, and that is wrong.
Yes, thank you very much for that insightful response. One question I do have is, I believe you have about 21 or 24 ethnic groups in Guinea, which you just mentioned about the diversity that we want in terms of democracy to be united. How is your party, because you're running as a presidential candidate, correct, how do you intend, twofold, to bring unity among these diverse ethnic groups in Guinea? And the second question is, I think the literacy rate, percentage rate is under 50%. What do you intend to do when you're president to be able to bring that to at least 50 or more?
Those are great questions. First of all, as far as the diversity, my political party, if you go to my headquarters in Guinea, Sis Kobaya Marche, you will see that all of the ethnicities in the Republic of Guinea are represented in the highest level in my political party without discrimination. And then the second thing that's going on in Africa that's wrong is also like people putting their brothers, their sisters, their son or their cousins in a strategic position. You can go in my political party, there's not one single Baro. I'm the only Baro in there. There's not one single family member in a high position. So it's based on merit. It's based on education and experience, and then based on that, people are placed into strategic position that meets their qualification. And that's why we have been successful till now. And then our political party is really the most feared political party and the youngest political party in the Republic of Guinea. And you also mentioned education. Education is the foundation of everything. Without education, nothing is possible. No development is possible. And then we can see a human cruelty. Ignorance brings cruelty. And education is a priority. The question is, how do we do it? How do we do it is to be strategic about it. First of all, from the elementary level to university level, we need to review the curriculum. And the curriculum must be really rich, that will help our children growing up in the school systems to be efficient. And for that, we're going to involve partners, because we live in the global system. We cannot just be in our neighborhood and say, okay, we are just Guinean. No. We can. We also are Pan-African. We're extending it to African American around the world, and then everybody else around the world that's a goodwill to come, like Mr. Terry Warren and other people that want to come and then participate in improving our political system. But we do have a specific plan to improve the educational system for children. It can be happening through art, through music, and then through school the curriculum will be improved. And then to actually get more employment going on, we're going to be strategic about it, because if you look at, as you all may know, many places in Africa, you will see a lot of Africans walking around with a doctorate degree with no job. So a doctorate degree with no job, that doesn't